You may have missed the news over the weekend that the Prime Minister is enlisting the support of some sporting stars to help push his voice agenda.
I know from speaking to a number of the NRL and AFL players, both past and present, that they will be active in putting their views in support of constitutional recognition. And I expect that not just them, but Tennis Australia have been supportive, Cricket Australia, all of the sporting codes. The basketball, I would be surprised if you didn't see a range of figures.
All right, some of the names mentioned as possibilities include Adam Goodes, Ash Barty, Kathy Freeman and Jonathan Thurston. Now, there's no word on whether these people have actually agreed to front the campaign. And we also don't know if any of the sports spruikers that are actually going to be enlisted in this are going to be paid for promoting what is a very divisive agenda. Now, clearly, any campaign of this nature is just a further extension of the national sporting codes, which are already captured by politics and virtue signalling. Oh, and I should add, money. After all, most of them get a hefty chunk of taxpayers' cash through various handouts and grants. Our professional codes like AFL, cricket, tennis, rugby league, they get millions in funding every single year. And it helps to explain why they jump to support every politicised social agenda. You see, it keeps the government cash flowing, even if it infuriates many of the fans. There's barely a round now that doesn't feature one new cause or another, and the players, regardless of their personal feelings, are virtually compelled to participate. The rare few that dissent face a virtual public lynching, condemned for their crime of non-compliance. Actually, that's not entirely accurate. Only some of them face that censure. If you're a male rugby league player, for example, who doesn't want to wear a rainbow pride jersey, you can be labelled a homophobic bigot. But if you're a Muslim AFLW player who opts out of the same thing, you're bravely standing up for values and culture. Well, the same hypocrisy applies to many of the other virtue signals that are handed out by the wealthy sporting codes. You see, they all pitch their businesses around this notion of inclusion, as well they should. They need more players, they need more teams, and they need more fans. And marketing dollars, well, that is a natural consequence of those other three things. And sport in this country has always been one of the great levellers of our society. It doesn't matter if you're a bricklayer or a billionaire. On the sporting field, everyone is equal, and in the grandstands, it's much the same. We have friendly rivalries. Good or bad, we all play and cheer on our chosen teams and games because we love the challenge, we love the camaraderie, and we do it because we love the sheer joy of the competition. But in a world where sport is pitched as the ultimate in inclusiveness, it's actually very hard to reconcile any sports person or any sporting code endorsing a move to carve out one group in our country as having more rights than the rest of us. And that's actually what The Voice does. It empowers a small group of Australians, selected not for their skills or their knowledge, but based entirely on their racial background, and it gives them primacy over the rest of us. That small group will then choose a tiny group of their own to tell the democratically elected government what they're allowed to do. And to paraphrase the words of the Prime Minister, it would be a brave government who ignores the demands of the Voice elites. In other words, what the race-based chosen ones demand, they will receive. And so it brings you to question, why do we even have a parliament under this system? The PM suggests the elected policy will essentially have to rubber stamp whatever the racial elites demand. And incredibly, if these Indigenous lords of the land aren't consulted on any legislation, there are credible legal suggestions they can take their case to the High Court. Now, that's something that you and I cannot do. And even a cabinet minister cannot launch a legal case against legislation simply because he wasn't or she wasn't consulted. The Voice could. The Voice is driving a class divide through our country. If it succeeds, we'll have two types of citizens, those with a voice and those without. And this is everything most sporting codes in this country claim to be against. And yet they're rushing to throw their weight behind it. How anyone can incessantly demand inclusion at every public opportunity and then front a campaign that seeks to divide Australians by race is beyond me. But when money is involved, nothing is beyond the realm of rank hypocrisy.